Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I found the best way to start a video is to give you like a timeline on how I got the idea for this video. Also, I want to say this, the purpose of this video is to share with you guys that recovery is possible. I did a video yesterday on TikTok. It was a very short version, a 2-minute version of the Joe Exotic MGK. I'll put the link down below so if you guys want to watch it. And it got in the first 5 minutes. I went back to look at it right after I downloaded it. I'll put the link down below. It was just a short version of my MGK Joe Exotic video. And literally in the first not even 10 minutes, I went back to get the link to it. After I just downloaded it, it had 1,300 views and a bunch of comments, a bunch of very positive comments. And I got inspired that I talked about, because the comments were so positive, that I got inspired to do another recovery video. This is the thing I found though, for that TikTok video, I think they put it out in mass, like, you know, in the feed. The general feed, they put it out in mass for a few seconds or a few minutes, and it gets all these thousands of views, and then they put it into like a side rotation or something. Because I thought I was going to have like 1 million views. You know, if it got 2,000 views in the first 5 minutes, oh my God, I'm going to have millions of views this morning. No, it's got about 2,000 views. So anyway, but I got inspired. And also, something else that happened. I was in the gym here yesterday, and well, for the last couple of days, and an 85-year-old man comes in and he works out. And at first I like working out alone, so I was kind of standoffish. And I was in there for an hour, and he was in there for an hour, and it's a small room, you know, so we're kind of right next to each other working out the whole time. And I was a little aggravated, a little standoffish at first. And then we started talking. You know, I initiated a little conversation, and we started talking, and I was glad I did. And one of the first things I use, not first things, but eventually I come out with, because they talk about how I exercise, you know, that I exercise so hard and fast and for so long. And I talk about how I used to be addicted to other stuff, and how I'm kind of addicted to exercise. And then I kind of slowly get into, well, I'll say I used to drink, you know, because it's an older guy. And I say, well, I used to drink a lot, you know, I used to party. And then I after about 5 or 10 minutes, I feel the person out, and, you know, I get down to it. Yeah, I was a crack using heroin junkie for 2 decades of my life, you know, and I could see the shock on this guy's face. But here's the thing. This guy asked me, well, how did you do it? You know, how do you know? And people, that's the thing that always, I don't know what to say when people ask me that, because it wasn't just one thing. And one of the things was sex drive, to be honest with you guys. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this. Well, number one, because no one wants to hear a 50-year-old man talk about his sex drive. All right, so that's not really what I'm going to be. You know, I'm going to give you guys. I'm not going to get too graphic. But I was a little embarrassed, you know, because I got clean and sober when I was 40 years old, and I stayed celibate for 7 years, and I totally avoided any adult material, any adult establishment, because I was cross addicted to adult bookstores and the arcades in the back and adult material, and that went right along with using. I mean, the two are just, if you're a guy and you've used crack or methamphetamine, you know what I'm talking about. And at first, I really thought it was because my sex drive went down after 40, and I didn't want to talk about that. I didn't want to say, I think my sex drive has gone down, and that's why I found it easier to get clean and sober, you know, because the two were so intertwined. But that's really not what it was, because I got into 2 serious relationships, you know, that I lived with 2 different women, and, you know, we were very active. Let's just say that multiple times a week we would be intimate, and, you know, so it wasn't that. What it was is I was addicted to, I don't know how to put it, the graphic, obscene side of it. You know, the adult bookstores, the adult material. That's really what it was, and that's what I had to stay away from. So how do I tell this 85-year-old man it's, and it was a bunch of other things too. I had to get rid of all my friends. I mean, I literally I stopped talking to all of them. I had to rebuild myself from the ground up. And, and I pray every day. He asked me, because he said, do you believe in God? Are you Christian? And I could tell that's the answer that he really wanted, And I said, yeah, because I do pray every day. And it turns out, he says, he goes, I don't pray every day. He says, I read the Bible once in a while. So it turns out, he says he's a Christian, but he doesn't read the Bible that much or pray that much either. So I don't even know if he goes to church. But anyway, so I did this Joe Exotic video, right? And I was very ticked off about what Joe Exotic said about giving MGK some meth and turning him gay. And I'm going to share this with you guys, something that, because I had an experience like this, and it's a very low down, dirty thing to do, to tempt somebody with drugs, to get your way with them. That's basically what we're talking about here. And I was that person. Let me fill you in really quick. I used to deal to get my drugs that I would use. This one particular time I used to make the runs. I was the guy that would take the chances, that would go into New York City, that would go into the Bronx, that would go into Bridgeport, to Father Panic Village in Bridgeport, to the north end of Hartford, like I said, to the Bronx. And I go down to New York City every week and buy and come back here, and I would triple my money in one day. And it's not something I'm proud of, I was working with this one guy in an architectural office. He was a gay guy, and he was interested in picking up like an 8-ball. And he says, he's kind of busting my ass. He says, I'll tell you what. He says, I'll meet you at this bar. I'm going to be at this bar tonight. It was a Friday night. He says, meet me there, and I'll take that off your hands. So I said, all right, but it was a gay bar. So he was kind of, he's like, he was kind of saying, if I had the guts to go in this gay bar to meet him, he was kind of busting my ass because he knows I'm a straight guy. I said, no problem, no problem at all. So I went down there. I was by myself. I had been using, and I went in, and it was probably about 9 o'clock at night. It was pretty full, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. He wasn't there yet. And so I got a beer. And there was a pool room in the back away from the bar. And so I went in there to wait and drink my beer. I feel comfortable with everybody. I don't have a problem with gay or bi people. I felt comfortable there. I figured that gay people would realize that I'm straight, and, I'm straight, they're gay. And anyway, so I started shooting pool, and there is a black woman there with her gay friend. The black woman was a beautiful black woman. Very large chest, very extremely large, gorgeous woman. And I was very attracted to her. And she was with her gay friend, this smaller, like 150, 140 pound white guy. And they started shooting pool with me. And this is what I ended up doing, because I wanted to use a little more. And my friend hadn't come in yet. So I thought he was going to blow me off. So I told these two, I said, how would you guys like to go do a little blow? And they jumped right on it. And I ended up going home, taking these two back to my house. And let's just say anything and everything that could happen did happen. Here's the thing, looking back at this, it's not the gay versus straight kind of thing that I'm embarrassed about. It's bringing people that I don't even know, two people that I don't even know, back to my home. And I was living with my sister and her husband at the time. So I had a room, my old room in the back of the house that had a door in it. And I went in, I was told to be really quiet, and we started using and messing around and all that. And eventually we had to go to the bathroom. I had to go, then they had to go, or whatever. So I had to kind of sneak them out into the house to go to the bathroom. And as we were sneaking out through the kitchen, my sister, my little sister, who was straight, I made sure, I've always made sure that nobody ever gave her drugs. That was one of my rules. If I ever catch anybody giving my sister any kind of drugs, I will end them. And I was always very protective of her. And she was very, seeing what it did to me, she was very anti-drugs. And so she walks out, and she's kind of half asleep, and she's like, who are these people? There was a black lady and a smaller gay guy and me in the kitchen, sneaking through the kitchen in the dark. And honestly, I don't even remember what I said, and I pray right now. We've never talked about it since then. I don't know if she's ever going to watch this video. If you watch this, sis, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I did this. But I ended up bringing these people back to my house, tempting them with this drug. And, so when I saw this post with Joe Exotic, saying that he could, it wasn't about turning MGK gay. It was tempting somebody, a recovering addict, with drugs to have their way with them. That's what I saw. It really wasn't, even though there's in my story and in that story, there's both straight and gay sex. It really didn't have anything to do with that. When I looked at this thing by Joe Exotic, it was somebody just dangling drugs, because I know what that, and I to this day, this is 20 years later, and I still remember this, and I'm still embarrassed and ashamed of this. When you're in recovery, you make amends. I did the 12 steps, and these are two people that I could never find again. I could never apologize and say I'm sorry. My sister, on the other hand, I got to admit, I still owe her amends for bringing people into my house like this, or really her house. So this is one of the reasons why I got so angry. Angry at the Joe Exotic post. And like I said, I want to tell people there's hope. There's a lot of guys out there. As soon as they get aroused, it goes right to, it's a cross addiction. When I used to see a pretty girl, the first thing I would think of is my dealer's number. I got to a score. I see a pretty girl and I figure she's straight and I'm a drug addict and I'm never going to get with her. So I'm going to go relieve my tension over here. So I'd go right to my dealer, get drugs, and I'd go to adult bookstore and get adult material. And that was my girlfriend. That was my release. It was a cross addiction. And I mean, the two were so intertwined. I didn't think, and this is why I think I thought I would die an addict, because I'm always going to have sex drive. I always want to have sex drive. But here I am with my sex drive completely intertwined with my drug usage. So how am I ever going to be able to stop using drugs? I thought it was going to be impossible, but it wasn't. And there's no easy answer to this. There's no, I stayed away. I stayed away from pornography for 7 years of my life. I remember seeing a magazine in a garbage can when I was cleaning my car at the car wash, and I was so tempted to pick it up. But I was like, Daryl, you know what's going to happen I always told myself, no good can come of this. Or I'd go into a convenience store back when they had magazines. I don't even know if they have adult magazines anymore. And I would purposely avert my eyes. And, because if I looked at it, I'd start seeing just seeing the little, because they'd be different names of different adult, they'd be kind of standing next to each other, and just seeing like this much of the magazine with the glossy cover. And I remember the smell of that magazine. And seeing the skin on the magazine and the obscene pictures, and it was a cross addiction, and staying away from that for 7 years. And then once I got into a real relationship, it totally went away. Now I can see that kind of stuff, and it doesn't affect me the same way. So that's the positive message that I want to get across to people. That's the point of this whole video. You can get past this. You can, if you're a guy and you're cross-addicted like me, or I was cross-addicted, you can get past this. You can live a normal life, or a real life again. You don't have to be so intertwined with the sex addiction and the addiction to adult material or sex and drug addiction. Because I managed to get back to a normal relationships, normal sex drive, and being clean and sober. And it is possible. Recovery is possible. I hope this made some sense. I kind of meandered in this video. I have some more things to share with you. I was kind of, I was glad to see all the comments on this TikTok video. Like I said, I'll put it down below. And it makes me want to talk about recovery a little more. And some of the, I like to rock the boat. I like to talk about things that I'm not supposed to talk about, or they're a little shocking. So those are going to be the videos coming up, more than likely, because I'm tired of talking about Donald Trump. All right, you guys, I'll be back later. You guys have a good Sunday.